Hi, and welcome to the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce Member Connection. I am your host, Eric Knowles. But before we get started, a word from one of our supporters.
Miami-Dade College has career paths in anything you want to be. What's your story? Be global. Be cutting edge. Be inventive. Be investigative. Be a hero. What do you want to be? Be the best. Be you. Be MDC.
Hi, and welcome back to the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce Member Connection. I am your host, Eric Knowles, and you already know I'm excited about growing and building and supporting small businesses, black businesses, minorities, Hispanic, women-owned business, veteran-owned business. That's what we do. We provide technical assistance each and every day. And today I am excited about having one of our members, Miss Edmalia Constanza. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
It's so good to see you here.
Likewise.
Tell the folks a little bit about Edmalia. Who's Edmalia? Where did Edmalia come from?
Where did Edmalia come from? Such a loaded question.
Yeah.
Well, I am born and raised from New York.
Okay.
My parents are of Hispanic descent.
Okay.
So they migrated to New York in the 70s. We grew up in New York. We lived in Philadelphia for a couple
You on
years.
the east side or the west side?
We were in Washington
what
Heights,
borough?
Manhattan.
Okay.
Yes, we were in Manhattan, Washington Heights.
Okay.
That's where all the Dominican folks typically go.
On the west side.
On the west side,
Yeah.
yes.
Above 79?
Very above 79th. We were by the hospital. My parents still live there.
Okay.
By Presbyterian Hospital.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's our stomping grounds.
Yeah. I lived in New York a couple years, and I lived over in Yorkville.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, back in the early 80s, and pursuing another lifetime. But anyway, so what brought you to South Florida?
My brother.
Okay.
I have two older brothers, and one of them came here in the early 2000s. He was in the car industry, and it went really well, and he stayed here. And then my other brother decided to come, and then I followed.
Okay. And when did you move to New York? How old were you when you went to New York?
I was born there.
Oh, you were born? Okay.
So I was born there, never knew anything outside of New York till my late 20s.
Okay, so snow was a natural thing to you.
Yes. I think I got tired of the snow.
Yeah. So you're now in South Florida, and you decided to become an entrepreneur.
Yes, I think my entrepreneur days were from New York. I always worked. I've worked since I was 14 years old. Coming from parents that are migrants, you know a lot of hardship. So I decided at 14 when I was able to work to help them in the summers. So I did that my whole life. When I was 18, I started working, worked through college. And then when I graduated college, I started working in an accounting department.
Okay.
And it was at a gym, and I fell in love with yoga. So I became a yoga instructor
I didn't
and worked
know that
for the
part.
gym. Yeah. So
Did
I've
you know
always
that
had
about
two
me?
jobs.
Did you know that about me?
No.
Yeah, I'm a 200-hour certified.
No way. So am I. I never did my 300-hour
I
just
haven't done
because.
the 300
Yeah, I
hours
was like,
either.
I don't know if I want to do it, but
Yeah.
but I have a love with self-care and
Okay.
yoga and that whole wellness, and I've always had multiple jobs. So becoming an entrepreneur was just kind of, I think, just intended for me.
Right.
Yeah.
And now you have an accounting background.
Yes.
So that's a part of what you do.
Right.
And so tell the folks about what it is that you actually do.
I think I do everything. I realized.
But you're not Jamaican.
I'm not Jamaican. I might have some Jamaican in my bloodline, I'm sure. But I realized, and it's funny, through the technical assistance that your Miami-Dade Chamber provides, that what I specialize in besides bookkeeping, which is what I promote, and like tax prep and payroll, is kind of outsourcing services.
Okay.
Because I end up taking on more from my clients, just, more than bookkeeping. Some
Okay.
clients need operational support. Some need assistance with creating SOPs and having systems in place. So I kind of just wear those hats that the business owner doesn't have time to fulfill. And a lot of it is back of house and a lot of it is operations.
Well, you took the words out of my mouth. You are that person that I always talk about for those folks who don't have the back of their house together.
Right.
You are one of those support systems that help. As I always say, you have individuals who are great. They can be great cooks. They can be great landscapers. They can be great architects. They can be great doctors. But running a business is totally a different mindset. And you are one of those individuals that comes along and plugs in what's missing in that area.
Right.
And what made you decide that, you know, this, well, as you said, bookkeeping and the accounting, but again, what made you go in that direction?
If I strip back all the layers, I didn't want to continue starting over. I realized with my education in business, it's just so broad, right? I majored in business marketing and it was business marketing and finance, I believe. And I would always kind of start from the bottom up, always work my way up, always become the boss, which was great. But when I moved from New York to here, I was like, do I really want to start all over again? And I realized that if I didn't want to start all over again, I had to just provide a service that was needed. And that's kind of how that was created.
And how long have you been in business now?
Well, doing 1099 work, probably over 10 years, but having a business structure properly since 2019.
Okay. And what would you say are the challenges that you find working with individuals doing, you know, providing the service that you do?
They don't have a clear path. A lot of times, as a business owner, you have so many hats, you know, and your goal is really to make money providing a service that people need. So you want to provide good service, but you need to make money in order to provide that service. So they're just so focused on that one area that everything else kind of gets forgotten.
Right.
Yeah. And then I have to like identify and say, are you doing this? Are we doing that? How can we make this better? And then a lot of times they just say, you do it.
Right.
You do it. I'm like, okay.
So as you said, starting in one area, you kind of morphed into providing more services than what you originally go in to provide to a business. And again, you mentioned the fact that you say the challenge is they're kind of like don't know where they're going.
Right.
How do you step in? As you kind of mentioned it, but really give me a day in the life of Edmalia, starting with a business, a new client, and what does that look like?
Okay. It looks a little messy,
okay,
to be honest. And you brought up a great point because right now I just took someone on and it's in property management. So property management, bookkeeping, and accounting is a different beast.
So you're actually learning as you're going along.
Yes.
A lot of different, I guess, platforms in itself. So go ahead.
There's lots of different platforms. Every business is different, even if they're providing the same service. So that's something for sure. Like you have to identify every business differently, and what works for one business doesn't work for another. So this one client that I took on, it was to clean up his books. He's trying to sell the property. And in order to sell the property, you have to present financial statements. And his financial statements were all over the place because he used 3 different bank accounts. None of them, you know, were recorded properly.
Reconciled, nothing's reconciled.
Nothing. So first, you know, I had to identify for him, you need one bank account. Like you need a dedicated bank account for this company. Paying from different bank accounts that belong to different LLCs, that's a no-no, right? And he just thinks, well, I have different businesses, it's all my money.
But it's not. That's
so
crazy.
You know where I'm going with that already.
That's crazy. But before we're going to come back to that because 3 different LLCs, but taking care of a different. Anyway, we're going to be right back. We're going to take a break and get a word from one of our supporters, and we'll be back with Imelda.
Learn and earn today at Miami-Dade College. College graduates earn 56% more than high school graduates and $1 million more in lifetime earnings. A degree from MDC is your path to greater earning power and career success. Choose from hundreds of affordable high-tech and in-demand career programs, including cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, business, and nursing. Learn and earn today at MDC and fast track your career. Enroll now at mdc.edu/purpose.
Hi, and welcome back to the Miami-Dade Chamber Member Connection. And I'm here with Edmalia, and we're talking about her business and the services that she provides. And my one question was, how do you go in and determine what someone needs? And you were just explaining that you have this new client that wants to sell their business, but has 3 bank accounts, doesn't know where anything is. And I hear that quite often. And again, I go back to this thing about having the back of your house together. And one of the things, just the other day, we had the SBA on. And, you know, the SBA, we know what they do. They back loans. You go to a bank and they will guarantee the loan, so on and so forth. But one of the things that they find is that people don't have the back of their house together. So that's got to be challenging to go into a business. Someone's been in business for however long they've been in business and haven't been keeping records.
Right.
How do you, I mean, it's, what do they say, forensic accounting or whatever. How do you talk about that?
I mean, it's
And I know
it's
you
a
see
challenge.
it all the time.
Yes, it's definitely a challenge. I think the biggest issue is when you start a business, you're just so happy to start it and start providing your services. And again, you want to see that monthly revenue come in, that you kind of forget about this back of the house thing. So I always implore new business owners, just even keep it on an Excel file. You know, something as simple as an Excel file. You can list the bank accounts, the transaction dates, and just, you know, a little brief description of what your expenses are. And then when someone comes in to prepare your books, it's a lot easier. With this one client, I literally had to ask for 36 bank statements because it was 3 bank statements. I needed to do a year's worth of work, and I need to see what the expenses are. And I don't record anything if I can't prove it because I'm very, I never want to be audited.
Right.
And if you're audited, you want to make sure you have your paperwork in order.
Right. And a lot of businesses get in trouble from the whole tax thing.
Yes.
Payroll taxes,
Yes.
et cetera. Talk about that a little bit.
I really think that these are overhead costs that you just have to assume as a business owner.
You know, you think about it, I get this money in, and I'm just gonna spend it.
Exactly. I'm just going to spend it all.
Right.
But I think too, knowing the goal of the business, right? Because there's some businesses that they want to show losses for tax advantages. And also because you might have multiple businesses. You can have, for instance, with property management, you can own the building, and that's one LLC. You can manage the building, that's another LLC. You can do maintenance, that's another LLC. So with all these LLCs, all for one business, you maybe want to show profit on one, losses on another to offset. So it's, what is the business strategy? What is the goal of the business? And then I think once you have that in place, you speak to your accountant or your bookkeeper, and you figure things out, and you charter a path forward.
And speaking about, you say your accountant or your bookkeeper, or your CPA. For those of us who don't understand the difference between a bookkeeper, an accountant, and a CPA, why is it that you have to basically have all 3?
I think it's important to have all 3. When you're starting, maybe just start with I honestly think a CPA. I was going to say bookkeeper, but for instance, I provide bookkeeping services, and when I bring on a new client, I have my CPA set up their chart of accounts in the back of the house, whichever back of the house they're using. If it's QuickBooks, if it's Buildium for property management, or Yardi for property management. There's law firms that use different resources that they might not use QuickBooks. So I think the chart of accounts, which is that back of the house that shows all of your, how your transactions are going to be booked, having a CPA set that up for you really sets you up for success when you're going to do your taxes, because they mirror it so that when your tax person, if it's not your CPA, is doing your tax prep and filing your taxes, it's just a click of a button and everything just makes sense.
Wow. the other day, and everything's on the internet now, whether it's Instagram or LinkedIn, and they were talking about how you can go on vacation and pay for your vacation.
Yes.
As a tax write-off.
Yes.
You know about that?
I do.
Tell the folks about that little trick.
So there's a little loophole with this, and I think the biggest loophole is kind of setting up a meeting on a Thursday or a Friday, and then you set up a follow-up meeting on a Monday, and then basically your travel to your hotel, some of your meals on those days, you can write them off. And then you get to spend a weekend somewhere.
Did you all hear that? For some of you who don't know about that, I didn't know about that little loophole.
Yes.
And you can actually, your expenses for the hotel, your airline ticket.
Yes.
So if it costs you $20,000 for that weekend, but you have to have a meeting. You just can't go say, it's a
Exactly.
business expense. You actually have to have a meeting about your business and throughout the weekend.
Yes.
And then that $20,000 basically.
You could expense some of it, not all of it.
Okay, don't
Not
listen
all
to me.
of
I'm
it.
not your tax advisor. So what are some of the other challenges that you see that people have?
I think setting boundaries as a business owner is a big one, because you always want to say yes, and you always want to, do whatever it is that a client is asking you for. But definitely setting boundaries, having some self-care time is huge, because you tend to feel depleted sometimes as a business owner. Having a schedule. And I'm talking for me, like as I think
You're
of these
listening to
things.
yourself?
Yeah, I'm thinking of like what have been my challenges is learning to say no, and that's okay, with the boundaries, self-care, and personal development. I think that's the key. I learned about personal development maybe when I was 18, and just tapping into that and personal development for yourself and for your business.
There goes the yoga.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you like you said, you've been working with Gina, and we've been providing technical assistance, and now you've been a part of the chamber.
Yes.
Why is it important that you are a part of the chamber?
Well, one, I love the community. I think it's very supportive. I also love the information that you guys provide. As a business owner, you are so focused on your day-to-day and growing your business that you might miss out on opportunities of things that are available to small businesses, Black businesses, women-owned businesses, all of the things that you mentioned in the intro.
Hispanic, as a matter of fact, it is.
Yes,
and
Hispanic Business Month, I think,
it
or
is
Heritage.
Hispanic Heritage Month.
Yes.
And congratulations on celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. But I'm sorry, I cut you off in terms of your engagement with the chamber.
Yes. And I think it's very supportive. The support, just learning about the opportunities that are out there with grants, with loans, connecting to other small businesses, and the networking. Mm-hmm. That's been very nice. Especially, I think I don't know if it's as a business owner or just me in general. I was more of like a quiet, shy person. And becoming a business owner and like forcing myself to network has been challenging, and the platform that you guys provide have made it a lot easier.
Especially what you do.
Right.
You have to get out, as I say,
Right.
as an entrepreneur, you have to get out and hunt. Mm-hmm. And with your business, your business is to connect with other businesses
Right.
to support them. So
Right.
you have to get out
Right.
and be engaged.
Right.
So if someone wants to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
I have many ways.
Okay.
Well, my phone number is 305-850-0841. They can text, they can call. I have a landing page, which I'm working on a real presence on the web.
Okay.
Is www.ecserviceprovider.com. I'm on LinkedIn. I think you just type my name in, Edmalia. And I also have a little Instagram and Facebook. If you just type in Edmalia, I'm typically the only one there.
Okay. Spell Edmalia for us.
Edmalia.
Okay. And if you want to reach the Miami-Dade Chamber, you can reach us at 305-751-8648 or m-dcc.org. This has been the Miami-Dade Chamber Member Connection. We'll see you the next time. Today, I stand before you, a proud graduate of Miami-Dade College and the 5th president of the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce. I'm honored to return to the college that prepared me to become a leader in our community, providing an education second to none. So I'm asking you to please tune in every Monday at 12 noon to the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce's Member Connection, as I interview members of the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce on our Facebook page at Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce or our YouTube channel, Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce. To learn more about the Chamber, please go to m-dcc.org or call the Chamber at 305-751-8648.